Moving to something else now, and Gaza and Israel have, as we know, been making headlines daily recently. However, we'd like to shed light on a new angle on the topic. An issue that perhaps isn't spoken about often enough is the Gaza Marine Project. Due to recent events, Development Consortium, BG and CCC have declined to talk to us, but let's meet a man who believes Gaza could be the next Dubai. Middle East consultant Peter Eyre, thank you very much for joining us. Now, this subject isn't widely covered in the international media. Who actually owns these gas fields?
The entire gas field within the Gaza territory, or their EEZ, their exclusive economic zone, is the natural resources of Gaza. To be able to claim the rights to natural resources offshore, you have to have a coastline. Gaza does have a coastline, West Bank doesn't. So technically it belongs to Gaza. Gaza's part of Palestine, so I guess if you could look at them as a united front, the resources belong to Palestine.
So what proposals are actually on the table at the moment, and who's negotiating with who, how to develop these?
It's very difficult to get to the bottom of the existing problems, but if one can refer back to British Gas, they came over to have discussions with the Palestinian Authority back in 1999, and in 2000 they were given a license to explore and extract from the marine zone. However, one has to put this into context. The actual gas field in its entirety is a drop in the ocean compared to the entire area that Gaza can claim, which is 200 nautical miles off its coastline, and that is the EEZ. So the potential is far greater than what we're talking about. There is an infinite price on the value and what lies beneath.
And economically speaking, how will this support and develop the economy of Palestine?
Well, for Gaza, for Palestine, it gives them an independent source to recover their own reserves onshore. And this valuable asset, primarily it was intended by BG to bring the gas just 36 kilometres offshore by direct pipeline to Gaza Strip. There was an intention to pipe the gas into a power station, and any surplus to requirements could be converted into LNG, liquefied natural gas, and be exported to the UK, US or wherever. Either way, the resource belongs to Gaza, legally, internationally, and anyone that tries to stop that is in violation of international law.
However, it's not as simple as that.
It is not as simple as that.
What is the value of these reserves to all in the surrounding area and those who think they're involved?
Let's just talk about the small field we're talking about. Remember, it's a drop in the ocean. This initial small reserve, which is called Marine 1 and 2, which is Gazan property, under the BG-CCC/PA arrangement, that value is about 4 billion. Of the 4 billion, there is probably 2 billion profit. However, due to very careful manipulation, the Israeli government refused to accept gas from Palestine and vice versa. So the original plan to bring the gas ashore was shelved politically. Israel even manipulated Tony Blair, who was then the Prime Minister, to get this to come to Ashkelon direct. And so there are two feasible plans. One is to bring the gas from the gas field, the Gaza gas field, directly to Ashkelon, but very carefully working around the 12-mile international limit, which is the territorial waters of Gaza. And the second option is to take that same product from the same field to El Arish, which is over the border from Gaza in Egypt, and again to pipe that as required. And since we speak, as we talk, that has now reached fruition, and there is a subsea pipeline connecting Al Arish with Ashkelon. And it's quite absurd to think that this pipeline is passing Gaza and through the very fields where another vast reserve is in place.
Before we explore those two ideas there a little bit further, just explain, because obviously this field sort of does cross the border there. How is the drilling, what are the varying ways of drilling and extracting
Well, first of all,
that gas?
I'd just like to correct that, Amanda. The actual Marine 1 and 2 is exclusively within the EEZ of Gaza, so that doesn't stagger. That is there, that is theirs. But there are other fields, as you would find in anywhere else in the world, that do stagger borders. It's like a lake with a border down the middle. What sometimes happens, and I hope it doesn't happen in this case, that with the types of drilling techniques that take place, it is quite feasible for a rig to be placed in Israeli territory, in Israeli waters, and for various means to extract across the border. This is called diagonal or slant drilling. So for some considerable distance, your drill goes down, and then it is very carefully manipulated under the border and contained to the resources for some other country. And
I think we have a demonstration of that for our viewers as well.
Yeah, you can see three types. There's the standard vertical one, there's the slant drilling where the rig is placed at 45 degrees and off it goes. And there's another one, again vertical, but then it can plan out. So if you can relate to the trees, the roots of a tree, is how this works. It goes out, instead of searching for water, which is what a tree does, it searches for oil or gas.
So assuming that's not the case here,
Well,
and we go back to our other ideas
Yes.
there, how viable is it to take this gas into Egypt?
It's viable. Diplomatically, it is the option at the moment, based on Israel's proviso that they will not buy gas directly from Palestine, but it's okay to buy Palestinian gas via Egypt, because then Egypt are technically buying the gas, and then Israel is taking it in total. I must point out that it's Israel's intention that they want the entire allocation of Gaza for their own usage.
So how does liquefied natural gas come into play here? Where would that then
Well,
be?
first of all, the gas comes ashore as natural gas down a pipeline, and then this can be, well, first of all, the power station would have to be modified with industrial gas turbines that are fed off natural gas. One could say that you could do the same in Gaza, as long as, quote, the Israelis would allow the two to connect, which is debatable. You would have to have a corridor between Gaza and West Bank, and then the prosperity for both Gaza and West Bank is beyond imagination. And then if one can say that all public transports and industrial vehicles also run on gas, you can see that they can be just totally independent of having to import from elsewhere. And more importantly, the surplus can be converted into liquefied gas, for which also requires a new facility on the Gaza Strip, a high technology facility that converts the natural gas to liquefied natural gas for export to UK, US or wherever. And that, of course, is also a bonus for the Gazans, because they will get the training and there will be mass labour usage of such facilities.
So we've got the issue there that it sort of makes sense that in Egypt LNG happens there because they've already got the technology.
Yes.
We've got the issue where oil power station in Gaza is converted to gas. But politically, what does all this mean?
The political side is very hard to understand, because you've got a split within Gaza between Fatah and Hamas. For the success for this, they've really got to come together, and then having come together, the United Nations really has to do its job and help police, take away this friction, and then Israel has no choice to say that Gaza is now truly independent. It's a recognised sovereign state through the United Nations. It has control of its borders, its airspace and its sea space. And more importantly, it can do what it wants with its own reserves. And no country has the right to rape Gaza of this commodity that is rightfully their own. And the revenue from this, I must emphasise that this is a small drop in the ocean when one considers that entire area is 200 nautical miles out to sea for the EEZ. There are many more gas fields besides this one, believe me. The area is inundated. So, of course, be optimistic. Gaza could become a small Dubai in the future, and very quickly.
Peter, it's obviously a very complex issue, and one we'd love to return to talk to you about in the near future.
Sure.
But for the moment, thank you.
Thank you.